Hi, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Behind the Scenes of Inside Investigations. I'm joined by Marnie Zambry, our senior producer, and Marnie, we're talking flags.
Well, we're talking rustic flags.
First of all, I didn't know it was a thing. Did you?
Well, I've got a few rustic flags, not by the Rustic Flag Company, but you know, I think that when you say rustic flag, you talk about Americana, wooden flags. People use them to decorate their home all over the place, quite honestly. So it is a thing. What I didn't realize that it's a thing with is that a lot of folks that have been in the military, they receive like these commemorative flags, and you know, it's great that they have this concept that you can make them in wood and use them as decoration in your house.
And it commemorates the service of the people that were in the military or first responders, but then we ran into a mess.
Yes, we did. And this is, again, we say this over and over again. Sometimes we're good and sometimes we're just lucky. And when we were in Tennessee asking the Attorney General's office about Walker Stalker, we started talking and they said, oh, we have this other case that we're working on right now, and it had to do with Rustic Flag Company, who is owned by Justin Scott. And you can tell a little bit about what the Rustic Flag Company and what they did.
Okay, Justin Scott, a former member of the National Guard, he starts his own small little company building these commemorative wooden flags. It blows up, it becomes extremely popular, and he starts taking a lot of orders and making a lot of money. Well, as you can imagine, one thing leads to another, and Mr. Scott starts taking a lot more money than producing flags, and so he gets upside down and it becomes a mess, a huge, huge mess.
Well, and I think when you kind of unpack everything about this story, I think that he had a really good idea on the onset and had great intentions. He had made a flag for a friend of his. The friend really liked it a lot, so he started going to local, not swap meets, but you know, events, and he would sell these flags at these events, and people started saying, you know, you should really build a business about it. So he did. Now, his experience, I don't think he had that much business experience, but when you get into businesses, especially online businesses, and you are a small business, you rely on PayPal, or you rely on all these different kind of entities to help you do the commerce.
Okay, it started out with good intentions, perhaps even great intentions, but some of the people that have been adversely affected by it tell us that it got out of hand, and then the problem is he apparently continued to take orders and was competing online by cutting his prices to a point where it was not practical that he could build the flags for the price he was collecting. Again,
I always like to give people the benefit of the doubt. That's where I feel like, yes, there may have been some greed involved, but I think what happened is that he did cut his prices back. But again, he didn't take into account how much it cost to actually make each project, how much time it was going to take to make each project, and I don't think that he understood how much of a cut. And the other problem is that he kept taking orders, but when you have another platform, when you're not controlling the platform that sends it out, you can't just stop it. You can't stop the platform. So they're going to keep saying they're taking orders, even if you've said, I can't handle any more orders. And so that's part of a business sense that I think he got in over his head.
Okay, so let's forward fast to the silver lining and the great ending. I don't want to spoil it if you haven't seen the show, but you're supposed to be coming here to the behind the scenes after you've seen our segment. And so we found this wonderful family in Alabama, and a gentleman his wife wanted to commemorate his 30 years of service, and she purchased one of these flags. It didn't show up. She felt that she'd been ripped off, and then Marnie, we found a great company in Texas.
Yes. So when we set out to do these stories, we always want to have a resolution of some sort. So in this case, we knew that Rustic Flag was not going to be able to fulfill these orders. So we started looking outside the box, and we found this other flag company called That Flag Company in Granbury, Texas. And that's so random because it's such a small town in Texas.
And we'd been to Granbury, Texas, where Tiny Homes was.
So they're based there, and it was a father-son team. They both served in the military. The son still serves in the military, and he started making these flags just like other veterans that have made these wooden flags. But anyway, when all this was going on, his flag company, that flag company, was being confused with Rustic Flag. And so they were getting emails saying, why haven't you sent my flag? And so what they started doing is that they wanted to help out these veterans who had not received their flags. So they asked the people who hadn't received flags, send them emails, tell us your backstory, and we're going to try to make it right for every person who did not receive a flag, one flag at a time. You know, they didn't make any promises, and they weren't charging anybody. So I thought that that was so unique that somebody was stepping up, and they had, you know, they had no obligation to do anything to help these other veterans, but they did because, one, they love their country and they love the people that serve in their country, but they're also just, they're great people.
Yeah, it's
awesome.
really restores your faith in humanity.
Yeah.
And so Inside Investigations made a contribution to that flag company, which stands for Time Honored and True. And our family got a flag. He retired and he had a smile on his face, and we helped make that happen. Marnie, thank you so much for your efforts on this.
No, it was a great story.
Okay, we'll see you guys next time.